Today is Veterans Day, and I want to give much respect and due honor to all the veterans out there and those service members and service women that are serving us, our country right now. With that said, my dad was actually in the military as an officer, and we have to travel a little bit with him here and there. And I want to share a little bit about that. Not just that, also too, I want to share 4 tips that I learned being an Army brat, my dad being in the military, as well as me working for the military for 5 years too. All right, let's get started here. So the first thing I want to kind of share with you guys is some of my childhood and just growing up in the military. There's a lot of things I learned, and over the time, I could share probably a list of 100 things I've learned from the military, working for the military, and as a kid. But I'm gonna share with you guys a little bit of my childhood here. We actually got a chance to do 9 years in Germany, like 8.5, close to 9 almost there in Germany. And I actually got to learn soccer the first time ever. I got to learn over there, touch the ball. It was an amazing experience, of course, over there. I can remember a little bit here and there. Not much, of course. It's been a long, long time, of course, here. We have tons of pictures of me over there in Germany. I was the only American kid, then also too, the only African American kid on the team, only one that spoke English on the team there and everything. But it was a good time, of course. I actually played soccer there, and I wound up playing, of course, in high school and also too playing in college and coach 1 year at Georgia Southern, where we were actually ranked in the nation. I think the only time they ranked in the nation, I believe. I can't remember now, but I know we were ranked in the nation that year I coached there. But with that said, let's get right into it. So many things I learned when we were in Germany. And everybody, if you probably talked to someone that was in the military or dependent, and a dependent or army brat, they call them, loved Germany. The food, people, it was amazing time over there. And that's one thing. One thing about the military or being a dependent in the military. Let me also backtrack here to being an army brat. Now, the definition of army brat, because some people may not know what army brat is. Army brat is basically army. My dad was in the army, of course. Brat meaning I'm thinking kid. I'm guessing they're referring to on this right here. So army brat. That's where they come up with that and everything. But some people may say dependent, and they call it. One thing you learn about the military, and I learned as a kid here, of course, is that you learn about different cultures. You learn about and that's one thing that the military, especially going overseas to Germany or anytime you're overseas, all the Americans will get together and all that. It was really like a melting pot and so like that. So I got to learn about all nationalities over there and all that. Didn't matter what color you were, so like that. I had friends of all nationalities over in Germany. It was an amazing time and got to learn a lot about their cultures as well here. And it's not, I'm not talking to people that are off the military bases, or actually other military families and stuff like that. It was an amazing time that we had over in Germany with that right there. I got to travel to Switzerland, got to go to England, got to go to the first Legoland ever. My parents took us over there. It was an amazing time. We actually stayed in the Legoland a hotel and stuff like that over there. Amazing time. We got to go to the windmills and all that, to Holland and stuff like that. It was an amazing time, amazing time. Miniature City we went to over there. Got to see that. A place called Fantasia Land. Fantasia Land, sort of like a Six Flags. We had a great time with it. It was an amazing time. And it's so funny that now I look back at my childhood and I hear other people's childhood. I'm thinking like, man, we had it really good. You know what I'm saying? Really, really good. My childhood and stuff like that. With that said, too, also too, it's one thing I did over there too. I actually used to be a paper boy. I used to be over there. I used to deliver. I used to have a paper route I had. I used to ride my bike, stuff you hear about on TV, like old school stuff. I used to ride my bike or walk it before I went to school. So I had to wake up like 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 4:30 in the morning. A kid now. I'm a kid. I'm doing, and I'm doing it by myself now. At that time, I think I was in sixth grade or seventh. I was in sixth and seventh grade. I did it. Those 2 years I did it. And back then too, I got paid. I remember one time, I think my biggest check was like $350, and that's back in the '80s. So $350, and this also this was for a month's of work I did. The hardest thing about that job was actually waking up early mornings like that. But my parents helped me out here and there with it and everything, and going around collecting money. And of course, it wasn't like you cash app somebody or Zelle somebody or debits from the bank. I had to go around collecting cash, and someone could have easily hit me in my head and took the money and stuff. But of course, we're on the military. I wasn't a military base, but we're on the military quarters we're on. So likely that happened. It's far to numb. That's one thing. Actually, that leads me into what I want to talk about actually. And one of the things I learned about the military is accountability. The military is all about accountability over there. So the chances of me getting hit on the head by having cash money on me, being 11 years old, having over like maybe say $700, $800 on me back in the '80s. Nowadays, someone may get hit on the head with that. So but back then not. And of course, it was accountability mainly on that. And the reason why the accountability I'm talking about here, that's one thing that I think the civilian world kind of lacks a little bit of accountability. And accountability is this is a great example of accountability. When I lived at Fort Meade military base, I lived there for about a year. And I lived up there on that base. It was quiet as ever, 8 o'clock. Quiet, 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 quiet. You couldn't hear, you barely hear anything at 8 o'clock. And it was just how it is on a military base. And military base, I think, is one of the safest places you ever could be. And the reason why that is, of course, if anything happens, someone is going to be held accountable. I mean, it just you know, we know everybody, we know rank, we know this, we know that. There's certain rules and bylaws that everybody know that you're supposed to stand by, and if you don't do it, there's consequences to it. For example, at the military base, 8 o'clock, it was quiet as ever at 8 o'clock at night. Now, living in the city, downtown where I live at now, of course, it's not like that. When I first moved back to the city, and our first night here, I'm thinking like, did I make the biggest mistake moving downtown again? And it was so loud, it was unreal. Now I'm used to it, now being so loud, of course, down here. But the whole gist of that is accountability, of course, here. If you do anything wrong on a military base, someone, the general of the base and all that, um, 2-star, 3-star general of the base here is going to hear about it, or whoever's the highest ranking official will hear about it, and then it'll just trickle down, and you may lose possibly a rank or something. Be some kind of repercussion to it, some way of holding you accountable. Just like my parents held me accountable for my grades and all that. I came back with bad grades. Guess what my parents did? They took things away from me. Took my TV away. Take small things to take away from you. You know, maybe your time going outside. It wasn't. I can go outside now. I have to sit at the table and do homework or do some work they make up for me to do. You know, so accountability is a big thing that I learned about the military, and it's a good thing to have, of course. Accountability. If you have accountability, then you actually can move along your goals on top of that. What I mean by move further in your goals, if you hold yourself accountable, then actually you are owning your maybe shortcomings. Maybe you're owning your whatever you're that you have accountable that you're accountable for. You're holding it. You're holding on to it. You are actually holding on to it. If you hold on to it, then guess what you do? You can actually release it when you want to, but you actually have to hold that accountability for yourself first, where you can actually reach to the next part of your goals or whatever you're trying to shoot for. You're going to. Yep. So one thing I have about the military too here, and this kind of diving into a little bit more. I'll talk about my experience and a little bit later on, being a kid and stuff like that. But another thing I learned about the military, of course, was I'm looking at my phone here, is early morning workouts they do. And at first, I thought the military, when they do early mornings, I thought it was more of like of course, early morning PT I'm talking about here. But sometimes they would do, especially on, all depends, I didn't realize this, all depends on what base you're on. And certain base, like I was at a trade out base. And trade out base is more of a training base, so a teaching base. So the base I was at, they would come in for PT, and it wasn't, I thought it'd be like some David Goggins, some hardcore, some just hardcore stuff I thought it'd be. It wasn't like that at all. They said something would come in and just do roll call. Okay, John, Tim, and that's it. Everybody's in formation, and then fall out, and then keep it going, go about, go back home, change, come back to work, and get things going from there. It's just sometimes it's just a roll call. That's all it was, just to get them out of bed and get them going, stuff like that. And of course, the whole military is just being ready at a moment's notice. And I have much respect being ready at a moment's notice. They need to be they need to be in good shape at a moment notice. It's all like you tell an average American now to go walk, 2 or 3 miles. They probably can't do that. We ask a military person to do that. Of course, they are rucking, they have PT, so they should be able to do that. They should be able to do that and everything. So early morning workouts got me fired up. And also too, actually, I actually mimicked 3 months of my life. I did this. Excuse me. I did this 3 months of my life. I did this. I actually woke up early in the morning. I took the idea from the military. I woke up early in the morning for 3 months at 4:45 in the morning. Go train at Gold's Gym, work out, get the rest of the day started here. And of course, by probably about 5 o'clock or even 6 o'clock, I was tired as ever, ready to go to bed and everything. But I did that for 3 months, and I called it. Now I call it the BCT weekend challenge that we do. BCT 48-hour challenge. You might have heard me talking about that, and that's where it actually spawned from. Spawned from me from doing 3 months. I did it for working up early in the morning and have every hour accounted for, like I was in basic training for myself for 3 months. I did that for. It was amazing results I have. Amazing results I have done in my life. It was amazing just from doing that right there. The second thing I want to talk about here is learning people and all that. And learning people, I mean by learning people and meeting people. Because if you don't meet other people from different nationalities, guess what that means? That means the only thing you have is what you see on TikTok, Instagram, and what you see on TV and stuff like that, right? Or YouTube or whatever like that. But you're meeting someone face to face, you actually get to know who they are, who their culture or stuff like that is. Especially if you get to know them a little bit more outside of work and stuff like that, right? And of course, you in the military. What I found out, and kind of looking from the inside out, is that it's a camaraderie. It's a camaraderie and all that because you're, everybody's in the same brigade or you guys are all in this. It's like being on a team basis, like a football team or a basketball team. If you've been on any type of sports team, it's sort of like that. That's the vibe I got from it and everything. Of course, I've never been in the military myself, but just the vibe I got working for them. I actually felt like because I wanted to know what they did. I wanted to know because this is the reason why I wanted to know. And you probably wonder, like, why were you so curious about the military? And again, being curious is like being curious like a kid. Like I always tell you guys to be. You want to be like a kid as an adult. You want to be curious. If you're curious, then what's that? You actually opening up your mind to new ideas and new concepts and all that. So I was curious how the military is. And the reason I was curious about that because my dad was in the military. My dad's passed now, so I can't just ask him, what did you think about that? Why did you join the military? Why is this? Why that? I'd love to hear from that. I told my mom about it, of course, but I'd love to hear from him. Right now, of course, I can't hear from him now. So I asked different officers, I asked why they did this, why they did that. And it's an amazing mindset. And one thing that this one lady, I won't never forget this one lady, one officer lady, she said, she was a lieutenant colonel. And I won't never forget, she said, so I was asked her, I said, we were talking for a little bit and I've seen her a few times in our office back at the base here. And I remember she said, I said, it was funny. And I wish I was telling, this is what I'm telling this young lady here. I said, it was funny. I wish I could talk to my dad and ask him, why was he so critical? Right? If I give him an idea, this guy sounded like he just shot my ideas down. Just truly shot all my ideas down. I came to him. And the lady looked at me. She said, I can tell you the reason why he did that. Because as an officer, you are trained to look for anything that can actually happen. And I was like, for real? She said, yeah, for real. Because if you're trained for anything to go wrong, then guess what? Everything should go right. And on top of that, too, your officer are here too, and officers will rank you are. You have people that you're looking after in a sense, making sure they get back home safe and stuff like that. So it brought some perspective for me there, and that's a little tidbit there for you guys there and everything. But let's keep it going here. So, but basically, I got to meet all types of people. Growing up as a kid here, it was my three brothers, myself, and two other brothers that I have. Next door to us, when we lived in Germany, we had it was just funny. It was just things always work out. It was us three boys over here, three African American boys over here, and then next door, across the hall from us, was three Caucasian boys next door to us, same ages. So guess what we did? We hung out. We hung out 24/7. And right above us, they had what's called an attic. They had, and the attic, a lot of times people will put, this is overseas now in Germany, they will put other goods up there. They may put, or they may have a party up there. They may have something they may have up there. But a lot of times the room was just empty. And guess what we did? We turned it into a soccer room. We had goals and we played soccer up there. And it was a huge room up there, and we played soccer. And right below us, of course, was our house. So we can be as loud as we want to up there. It was amazing. We had a great time up there. It was a great time and stuff we had up there. And I wish I actually get in contact with those guys. I think some of the kids we played with, they went into the military and all that. Now, of course, they're growing up like my age and stuff like that now and stuff. I would love to get in contact with them. One thing too, it helped me out learning with being an Army brat, and also too seeing the military. This is one of the tips here. What I know about the military is being able to adjust. And when you move around a good bit, and we only move around a few times, we move around, but just even in my adult life, I move around here and there and stuff like that. But just moving around, you learn how to adapt and stuff like that. Also, it can be stressful now, but you learn how to adapt. And I think it really helped me to adapt to different situations, like different groups I'll go into. And say if I join an organization or club, or join a hiking group, I'll join them like that. It helps me being growing up as an Army brat and all that, and moving around and stuff like that, and going to different schools and stuff, and get to know different people. Help me now to adjust to going to new places and just fitting in, just fitting in with them easily. And I think it really helped me out big time by my dad being in the military. One thing here too, I want to share with you was discipline, of course. That's the fourth one here, and I think it was four. I think it was four there, but the fourth one was discipline. And I will never forget this time here. And of course, the military is all about discipline. When you think of military, first thing I think about is discipline. I will never forget. This time. We're walking out of the clinic here, walking out of the clinic on the base over here, real close to me. Walking out of the clinic, And I was with this young lady walking out the clinic and all that. She's in uniform and all the OCPs, they call it, uniform gear. She put the hat on, and I put my gloves on because it was cold outside. It was freezing cold outside. And we're walking outside, we're about to talk outside for a few seconds. And then she's about to get in her car. I'm about to get in my car and about to head over to the meeting, or a meeting that we had to go to. And we're talking about stuff. And she said, my hands are cold. I said, okay. I said, I'm thinking in my head, she had her gloves, right out of her pocket here. And I'm thinking, okay, put your gloves on. I'm pointing down to her glove. You know, put your gloves on. She said, no, I can't. I said, you can't? What do you mean you can't? I'm thinking, like, just put your gloves on. I mean, your arms are working, put your gloves on. And she said, no, I can't put them on. I said, you can't put them on. I mean, break this down for me. Explain this to me. I'm not getting it. What are you talking about? You keep saying the same thing over and over again to me. Break it down and say it a different way. So eventually she said, Junior, I'm not allowed to put gloves on because it hasn't hit a certain temperature. And if it doesn't hit that temperature and I put gloves on, I can get reprimanded. I said, no way. I was blown away. I was like, man, that's deep. And she said, what do you mean that's deep? She looked at me like I was weird or something. I said, no. What I'm saying as deep as that. Think about it. You're actually, if you're in regular clothes, you can put your gloves on. But regardless if you're in regular clothes or in OCPs or Army uniform, your hands are cold regardless. But because you're in the Army uniform, you deny yourself of putting the gloves on. So you will actually be cold and suffer now. In a sense, what cold, your hands being cold. It's like, no way, that is deep. Think about that. And she said, I never thought about it like that, because it's part of what she does. And I'm thinking about the average American. I would just put gloves on, keep it moving. Like I put my gloves on, kept it moving. I wasn't thinking about that. But that's just a small thing on the Army getting you ready for anything that happens. Think about it. You're putting gloves on now, that you can put your gloves on, that your hands are cold. So just imagine bigger things than that could go on, So the military does actually help you, I would say reprogram, but I would say reprogram, help you see the world from a different perspective. It helps you see. And that's another thing too. It helps me see the military from the perspective. Let me open this phone up again. I hope it helped me see things from a different perspective. And it was truly beneficial for me. Truly beneficial for me from the fact of seeing things from a different perspective, working with this young lady here. And all. I learned so much about the military. It was unreal. Some Army Ranger soldiers I worked with, those guys were phenomenal in shape. There's one guy who was phenomenal in shape. I won't never forget that guy. Really cool guy too. And all, married. He married. His wife wasn't in the military. He was in the military. Army Ranger gentleman, about to go to a Ranger school. This guy, I think his body fat was low. His body fat was low. In great shape. Did a VO2 test on this guy. Was amazing shape. Did a whole bunch of other tests we did on him, body fat wise, and other stuff we did on him. And he came back from Ranger school. He's a Ranger now and everything. But he came back, and this guy, he came back and he waited 3 weeks to come see us. And he still looked tired. He said, Junior, I feel tired and weak and all that. And he lost. And this guy was in impeccable shape already. His body fat was already, close to single digits already. And I think it was like 12% around there. I want to say his body fat was. It was around there. I'm not saying his numbers for certain. I don't know his numbers for certain, but his numbers were pretty low. And it was amazing. It was amazing. He came back and he lost more weight. He lost and stuff like that, and lost more body fat, stuff like that. And he said if you do it all over again, he would actually come in not as bulky, because he came in, he said he was bulky and all that. He didn't need to be all that stuff they were doing. But he said it was just a lot of just training. Like I said with the young lady, discipline. I mean, just true discipline, true grit of doing it consistent every day. So that was a Ranger, of course. And Rangers, them guys are tough as nails, man. Tough as nails. And another thing too about Marines too, I learned about. There's only one Marine. Excuse me. That I saw. Excuse me. So one Marine. I'm keeping this in here, Jim. I'm not editing this out. I'm keeping it going. I do one take edits. One takes I do. I don't do no edits at all. Not yet. Anyway. I may get into that. But I remember I saw one Marine. Only one Marine I saw that was a little out of shape. Only one. And he was. I think maybe it might have been his shirt. Possibly might have been. But everybody else, top tip shape. Them guys are. When I say guys, of course, I mean men and women. Or Marines, I should say here, top tip shape. And their PT they have to do, man, it's unreal. The PT test they have to take, unreal. It's amazing. Talking about discipline and all. And one little tip here I want to give you, I'm kind of rambling here now. Gave the 4 tips and all that, are 4 things that I learned about the military. that's working, of course, as also too as an Army brat. But one thing I want to share, and this is something that my dad told me, and I'll share with you guys out there. And I won't never forget. That's just two things, but I'll share the first thing with you. The second one, yeah, I'll share with you guys too. The second one, but the first one was something called the gig line. Have you heard of this term called the gig line? And some of your military folks that are watching this video may have heard the gig line before. And the gig line, of course, is when you take your zipper. Say this is a shirt. Say this is a regular shirt, a regular button-up shirt. I button my shirt up, and the line that you have with the shirt, that the kind of the flap here, that line you want to line up with your zipper. Line, you want it all to be lined together. It's called your gig line. And I remember my dad. This is amazing. I remember my dad saying, "Come here, let me see. Let me smell your breath." And he go, I go like that. He say, "You need to brush your teeth. Go brush your teeth. Before you brush your teeth, let me see." And he'll check your gig line. He'll check his growing up as a kid. And now looking back, I thought everybody knew about the gig line and stuff like that. I thought it was a normal routine, but it wasn't a normal routine. And that's what I'm getting at. It's like that young lady with the gloves. That was normal routine for her. And I'm looking at it kind of weird, like, and I thought the way I grew up and all that was normal routine, but it wasn't. It wasn't normal routine. Stuff that we did and all that. You know, we got sick, you go to the hospital. You got you hurt your leg, go to the hospital. I mean, it was automatic. I heard later on, I heard a lot of my friends, or some of my friends, they didn't go to the hospital like that. They didn't. You know, if you had a hurt leg, the only time you go to the hospital, unless your leg was totally broken, about to fall off. Some of my friends told me now at 40 some years, at now 40 years old, now they're telling me it's like, no way. I didn't know it was like that and everything. But everybody, of course, everybody have different ways of seeing stuff. But I really appreciate my dad and my mom for being in the military and service like that. I remember, this is another one here too. I'm kind of rambling here about stuff, but there's another one here as well. I remember, this is another one. I remember I was doing a class and I was talking to drill sergeant. I was talking to a drill sergeant. It was called, what is it? Resiliency Week. It's called Resiliency Week. These are drill sergeants. And drill sergeants, of course, they're working with AIT soldiers. They may have, maybe 20, 30 people they may be in charge of, and a whole, they're truly in charge of. And these guys, the drill sergeants, will work, 16 hours. I think an easy day, probably them 11 hours. And then they'll come home, and of course, some of them had families too on top of that. I was blown away. I was like, no way, these guys are tough drill sergeants. Tough. I don't see how they did it. I remember there's one gentleman, and this guy had a wife, kids, drill sergeant, and he was going to school at night. Thinking like, how you do online school at the same time? Like, no way. And I think one of those kids would give him trouble too. Oof, oh my Lord. I was shocked. This guy was so tough, man, so tough. I'm thinking like just a determination to get things done. I mean, you had to be strong and everything. But I remember, I want to, this last one, the last tip thing or last thing I'm talking about here with the military was a drill sergeant, just something called Resiliency Week. And I was a speaker. I would go over there and talk to them about different things about health and wellness and like that. And Resiliency Week, they would just come in and listen to lectures, and it'd be all about stuff. It'd be finance. It'd be one day. One may be about mental health. Another day might be us coming in and talking about that. I'm talking to them. So I would come in, and I remember I was talking about sleep. I was talking about, and I remember this one drill sergeant said, "The best sleep I ever get is when I'm deployed." And I'm thinking like, deployed? I would never thought that. He said, "Yeah, the reason why." And I said, "Why is that?" Of course, I'm curious again. Curious, right? And I'm curious. I said, "Why do you get the most sleep when you're away from home?" And he said, "Well, first of all, it's just me. I know we went on a mission, went outside the base, came back in. Everybody's safe. I know I'm safe here. I'm going to go to sleep because I use all my energy and everything out there." Not just that, he said. Then he said, also on top of that, he has a wife and kids. He said, I don't have to go around making sure all doors and everything locked like that. I don't have to, take care of the family at the same time. It's just me. So I just go to sleep and all that. And I was like, wow, no way. So, and the people, and everybody started agreeing with him too, started agreeing with him as well, saying that, yeah, I get the best together. Many women were agreeing with him, saying, yeah, I get the best sleep ever. And I would never thought you get the best sleep being deployed. I thought it'd be the total opposite. But anyways, guys, hopefully some tips here, not even tips, but just tips of things I've learned about the military, in a sense, will help you out, give you some insight about the military, and hopefully will give you much respect. I have so many stories about the military, and I'll probably share another time, another video about some other stories about not being closely with the military, working with the military for a while, working with them, as well as my dad being in the military, and some things that I grew up with, and some of the lessons I learned that I think will be beneficial to everybody. And it's a good gig being in the military. What I know from my perspective, of course, here, what I've seen, the people I've talked to. But anyways, guys, I am not gonna go on anymore here, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Hope you guys will like this video. Like the video, and I hope like the video for me. Share the video, of course. Here, subscribe to the channel. Of course, we're trying to reach 50 before I turn 50. That's the whole game plan. We want to reach 50 before I turn 50. 50 years old. I'll be turning in less than, wow, about 2 months now. About 2 months, I'll be turning 50. I can't believe that's amazing. And I'm thankful of that as well here. Thankful for the military, all the armed forces and all that, working closely with you guys. Like I said before, I'm thankful and appreciative. My dad, grandfather, cousins, my brother actually worked closely with the military and so forth. So with that said there, guys, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.